podcast by Daph and Zoe. I'm Daph, also known as Paige Wild on Onlyfans, and Daphne Paige XO on most other platforms.
And I'm Zoe, known as Redhead Bitch on Onlyfans and Twitter.
So, we are two friends who create content together. We've known each other for many years now.
Yep.
We met through our wonderful ex-fiancés that we had at 19, so I wouldn't recommend doing that to anybody listening at home.
At all, no.
But so when we met, we didn't really, become friends.
No.
We just, hung out. I don't know how to explain that more than...
Acquaintances.
Yeah, we were just the waifus of the arseholes.
Yep, pretty much.
That's pretty much how that went. And then, so this year we were put into a content creator group chat.
Last year, but yeah.
Late 2021.
Year,
yeah, and so that was a roller coaster. There was on Snapchat, there's actually many content creator group chats.
Yeah.
Don't know about you, Zoe, but I've learned to realise that I kind of don't really fuck with many other content creators.
Oh, no, definitely not. None at all.
Yeah,
they're
not
all
really
fucking
our vibe.
psychopaths.
There is one in the room with us, but shout out to them. Moving on, we all kind of got together. There was a Port Macquarie girls content created group chat situation. Yeah. And we all decided to meet up.
Go out for drinks.
And it was actually a really good night.
Yeah, it was.
And then a few months later, that kind of fell apart. But you and I are still here together.
After everything?
After everything we went through, and we still have a solid friendship.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that anyway. So that's pretty much how we ended up here creating a podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Together, because we realised we're fucking funny and we both do the same sort of thing in our day-to-day life.
Yep, and everyone else just sucks, honestly.
Speaking of other people sucking, that was a really bad segue.
Continue.
So what is the weirdest thing you have ever masturbated with? That's nothing to do with sucking.
Okay.
It's more inserting.
So, there's been a couple.
Okay.
I've had a deodorant can.
Ambitious.
I feel like that's a very popular thing with girls for some reason.
I skipped that, Jean.
Oh. I didn't.
I went the similar path that you're on.
Hairbrush.
Okay.
Would not recommend it at all.
Okay.
And then at one stage I felt very creative, and I wanted to see how big I could get loose, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not shaming, just continue.
And it was a vodka bottle. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So we'll be wheeling Zoe out of here in a wheelchair.
I was very curious.
I've seen other content creators use beer bottles and things like that. I've seen the hairbrushes more in men.
Yeah.
So many hairbrushes up assholes. You do you. But I feel like I was less optimistic than you were. I was in a relationship at a young age, and when I moved to Port, I kind of didn't have anybody, was very lonesome on my own. And I went down the thought process of, I've got an electric toothbrush. That was me.
I've always wondered about that.
It sends it.
It does?
I was 17, so obviously I had no other option.
Yeah.
And so, I was just like, I'm ducking down to Coles, got my peas, I'm going to go down and get myself a little electric toothbrush, cut the bristles off. It was a waste of my time because I used the tongue scraper side. Honestly, one of the best vibrators
I was actually thinking about that the other day, because I know this sounds really bad.
No, go on.
But I was brushing my teeth because I've got an electric toothbrush. And for some reason it just popped in my head when girls use the electric toothbrush, does it actually work? Does it not?
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
It was kind of embarrassing though when I'd get back into relationships and my partner would go to open the bedside table. This is a fucking toothbrush sitting there. How do you explain that one? But yeah. And then my other weirdest thing was when Christmas time comes around, you get little perfume sets. The little circular Britney Spears perfume.
Yes.
I was still 17, so I was still having to use my imagination for any sort of, experience. And I put it inside me, and I went to pull it back out, and the lid came off. So I had this little circular glass ball in my vagina, and 17-year-old me is just squatting on my bedroom floor going like, fuck, I can't tell my mum. How do you explain that one to anybody? And so I sat there like a rotisserie chicken and tried to give birth to this fucking perfume bottle at like 2 o'clock in the morning going, at what point do I get help? But I gave birth to it. It was beautiful. It was like, 3 pounds, 2 ounces, still pink. And yeah.
Oh, that's good then. That actually reminds me of a story when me and my ex-fiance were together.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to try, like, butt stuff for the first time, and I was like, we're not doing the whole thing. Like, I had this little tiny bullet.
Yeah. And
he put it in my ass, and then when we finished, he was like, it's still in there. And I was like, okay, like, just expecting to reach around and, like, get it. Yeah. No, like, it was fully up there. Turned on and everything, and I, like, had to sit there and try, like, give birth to it.
And so when do you, like, kind of have that thought of, like, oh, fuck, I'm, like, going into labour now? Like, to get this out, like, this foreign object out of my body.
It's, definitely a funny experience, to say the least.
Yeah, so now I prefer things in my ass with, like, a handle on them.
Yeah, that you
The perfume bottle didn't go in my ass, but, I love a good handle, so I know I don't have to go fishing.
End up in the emergency room.
Yeah, we don't want to be there.
Yeah, no.
No, not like good old Colonel. Yeah. Alrighty, so...
I just can't get over that Snapchat that we got.
That was, so...
I was, like, at work as well, so I was like, oh, we'll see you soon then. Like, pop in and say hi afterwards.
So, there's a story, I don't know if we need to necessarily go into details, but a member of this content created group chat lodged a heart-shaped butt plug, I believe.
Yes.
In their ass and had to get rushed to the emergency room. Was very glad it wasn't me, because I would not like to go through that. No. Especially not heart, like how... Yeah, I don't understand, but also I guess we've also been in the same boat. Just not to that extent.
Yeah, but like I haven't had something fucking love heart shaped like fucking lodged up my asshole. Like
it wasn't a love heart shaped bullet.
No.
Just a little.
It was a tiny little bullet. Like the little bullets that girls carry in their purse. It was fucking tiny. Easy mistake.
So like when it comes to anal, do you stick to smaller objects or like what?
So
like, what's your limit when it comes to anal?
No, I'm just trying to think. So, like, when it comes to anal, like the actual inserting of the dick into the asshole, I warm myself up first and, like...
Do some, like, handstands and shit.
Yeah. Just to, like... No, so I go through, like, all the right things, use a bunch of lube. That is always a must. Do not try without lube.
Spit does not cut it for
No, definitely lube.
Yeah.
And then, like, warm it up, stick some fingers up in there, whatever.
I don't know how.
And then, just, like, work your way up to it.
Yeah, it's definitely a process, especially for your first time. You can't
definitely.
Just send it.
You can't just be like, oh...
No, it's
like,
not
no,
that easy.
That's happened before, and I've, like, broken into tears and went, what the fuck? And, like, turned into a gecko crawling up a wall.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I find with me, when it comes to anal, like, if I'm drunk, I'm so fucking for it.
Oh, yeah, same.
But if I'm sober, I'm like, don't even look at it. No. Don't touch it. Don't acknowledge it's there.
No.
Like, turn the fan down, because I do not even want to breathe touching my fucking asshole. Like, no. And then I feel like it's just one of those things where you go through phases as well, where you're happy to do it and then you're not. And yeah, it's just a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, but I feel like one of my worst anal stories comes back to a little threesome story.
Yes.
That I had, which left me feeling rather wounded the next day.
Yes. Please elaborate.
I love the looks that I'm getting right now. So, it started out, in our good old local town of Port Macquarie. And I was at Altitude. This was maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So back when we had somewhat of a nightlife around here. Don't really know what we have now because I don't leave the house.
It's turned into a restaurant.
Yeah, well there you go. It's like, what am I going to do? Go sit there and have some dumplings? It's just not the
Do a
same
little
vibe.
dance on your seat.
I do a little dance everywhere I go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so like 4 years ago, a friend and I went to Altitude. And yeah, just our little local shitbox nightclub. And there was an uncle and a nephew there who wanted to buy my friend and I drinks.
Yes.
And after a while of dealing with them, we're just like, okay, fine, you can buy us drinks. And we got our little vodka raspberries and we're standing up at the bar. And I was just like, fuck, I really need to fart.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck it, you know, now is as good as time as any. So I just, you know, do my little toot.
Yeah.
And I go, fuck, that fucking stinks. And I leg it. I get this drink that these guys have just bought me and I fucking leave. And my friend's standing there thinking, fuck, one of these guys has just shit themselves. And she goes to look over to me to be like, what the fuck, but notices I'm gone.
Yeah.
Comes and finds me, we smash our drinks out in the bathroom and we're like, this is shameful.
Because, you know, that smells so much better.
It's better than dealing with the shame of someone thinking these girls are just shit themselves.
Yeah, that's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, so we decided to go to another pub. Because it's like, no, not for me.
There's no coming back from that.
There's no coming back from that. And this uncle and nephew actually rock up. So we went to the Macca down the road and they followed us to this other pub. And I'm like, surely they fucking smelt it, right? Surely. And anyway, so it was a footy final weekend in Port. So, you know, people, like footy teams from all across, I guess New South Wales.
Yeah.
I don't even know. All come to Port Macquarie for their finals. So it's a big night out in Port that night. And anyway, there was a football team. And we're all on the dance floor, and this guy comes up to me and goes, hey, can I motorboat you? If I don't, I have to have 10 chilies tomorrow. And me
Spicy either way.
me being the good Samaritan that I am, was like, you know what? Go for it. You know, it's what Jesus would want. And
obviously
my fiancé at home as well. So this bloke motorboats me and then he kind of spends the rest of the night kind of hanging around, giving my friend the attention, and I was just sitting there like dancing with the wall, I think.
Yeah.
Like I was just vibing. I was like, I've done my cheating for the night, I'm done. And
tick that one off the list for the night.
Pretty much. Like every successful night out has a little hint of cheating.
Yeah.
And the DJ puts on American Boy, good old Kanye and Estelle.
Yeah.
Back before Kanye lost his fucking marbles. And this tall bloke comes up to me looking like Scotty T out of Geordie Short. I'm just like, oh hot damn.
Yeah.
And he's singing like, I can be your American boy. So I had to cheat a little bit more that night.
Obviously, if someone sings that to you, then you're just like, oh, yes.
Like, I don't know how I did it up naked
lost
on the
all
dance
control.
floor. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there making out with this bloke to American Boy, and then whatever songs came on after.
Yeah.
And then, you know, last call, end of night, and turns out these blokes were actually staying at the Macca. They're like, do you want to come up to our room? And I'm kind of like, oh, you know, I've really hit my limit of cheating for the night. And my friend's like, no, like, let's do it. So we go up to their room.
Being a good friend.
Yeah, didn't take much persuasion.
No.
And the whole footy team's there.
Please continue, because this just sounds like a whole fucking orgy right now. Ending at that.
Not quite. There was one bloke that was asleep, but everyone else was just kind of up and having a chin wag and whatever. And then one of the blokes recognised me because he's back from the Hunter Valley where I was from. And we had all mutual friends, so I probably knew half the team, but I had my beer goggles on, so. And anyway, he goes like, oh, it's Daft Punk. And I'm just like, that's the worst thing I've ever fucking heard. And anyway, you know, the motel security manager comes up and goes, there's too many people in here, so you've got to leave. But my friend was in the bathroom with her bloke, so I was kind of like the third person in the room. So it worked out well. And then we're drinking more and more, and then obviously I'm now having sex with the Scotty T lookalike.
Yeah.
And me being me, just falls out of the bed. And the bloke that was sleeping in the bed next to it leans over and goes, I'll give you 100 kilos of passion.
Oh.
And I'm just like, oh man, I'm
Would
gonna
have
need
just
to
melted my heart, that.
like the amount of cheating that happened in that night.
May as well keep going.
I was an overachiever.
Yeah.
I was reaching for the fucking stars that night. And so I jump in old mate's bed. I'm having sex with him as well now. And then old mate comes out of the bathroom with my friend. And he's like, she won't put out. And I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I'm a bit busy here, soldier. I'm fucking the other two. And then all of a sudden, I'm kind of like having a threesome with my friend's bloke and the big old 100 kilos of passion. And then I see my friend getting with Scotty T, and I'm like, go off, sis. Like, you weren't putting out for old mate.
But you put out for him?
You put out for him.
Yeah.
And then we spent a couple of hours just kind of swapping between the men who were readily available in the beds until one point we're kind of like, our phones are dead. The sun's coming up soon. I don't even know if we walked home and got a taxi. Like, it was just...
Main point is you got home somehow.
We got home somehow. And then we decided that we were going to go to Newcastle the next following day and like booked in a motel and all sorts of stuff. But at this point, my ex, my partner at the time, had heard about my cheating because he was a security guard, plenty of security guards at the Macca. I was actually approached by one saying like, you know, hey, you sure you should be doing this? And I'm just like, oh, fuck you. Like, I'm doing what I want.
Haven't reached my limit yet. Just give me a couple hours.
I was only busted kissing them, so my ex was like, you know, why are you fucking making out with guys at Macca? And I'm just like, oh, honey. If only you knew. Like, my friend and I are going to get Plan Bs the next day sort of thing. Like, it's like, that kissing.
It was only making out, I swear.
Got us into a lot of trouble. But, so my friend and I ended up going to Newcastle.
Yeah.
The next night and just fucking... Yeah, I think that was the end of that relationship for about a week anyway. He had a little night with Colonel, so, and then, we called it even. You know, he got his revenge sex, if you call it that. I had mine.
That's not revenge sex.
You sure?
That's just a death wish right there waiting to happen.
And on that note, I think we might wrap up our first episode. Let us know what you thought about it. Feel free to leave us a 5-star review. And if you do, each week Zoe and I will pick our favourite 5-star review. Not only will you get a nude from whoever picks your review, we'll also read it out on the podcast. So, Zoe, you'll have to do your homework for our next episode.
I can do that.
It'll probably be episode 3 or 4, given by the time we actually get these out and whatnot, because we want to kind of get them a bit ready for you guys in advance.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you like what you hear and everything like that, make sure you follow us on all of our socials. So you've got
Instagram,
our Daph, and so it's daph.and.zoe on Instagram.
Yep.
We're in the process of making a joint Onlyfans and stuff like that, so we'll update you with those details when they come. But for now, our Instagram and then our personal Snapchats are the best place to find us. My Snapchat is Daphne Page XO, all one word. And Zoe?
I'm just Zoe.Crossingham.
Awesome. So thank you. I hope you liked this, and we will bring you some more soon.